Hello dear friends, happy to greet you. This video from the Vellore Eye Hospital will reveal to you the ease of introducing a refractive intraocular lens into the sulcus. The first step is to load the refractive intraocular lens onto the butterfly cartridge. The Dr.Sayee refractive intraocular lens has a vault. One surface is elevated. Now we take the refractive intraocular lens and place it in the butterfly cartridge with the concave surface beneath and the vaulting surface above. The convex surface is superior, the concave surface is inferior, and in the plate haptic there is a hole on the right upper side to orient us. Now we hear the click sound, it is loaded on properly, and we will mount this onto the cartridge. My dear friends, in case there is any problem with the lens, with the RIL, what do? As a precaution, please make sure that you have at least one more RIL as a substitute for your plan B. Now that we have loaded it on, we are going to go through the clear corneal temporal incision and introduce the RIL into the sulcus without scratching the surface of the anterior lens capsule. And another matter, like in cataract surgery, this lens should not be introduced directly into the sulcus. It should be injected into the anterior chamber and then guided into the sulcus using a guide, which is actually something like a cross between a dialer and a ball. Now, the side port is being made. Clear corneal tunnel incision will be made later. Yes. Now, the keratome goes in. Please ensure that the clear corneal tunnel is more than 0.5 millimeters. It should be. Well, now that the incision has been made, we form the anterior chamber with viscoelastic substance. Yes, the gel is put on the cornea to soothe in. Now we enter viscoelastic substance. AC is well formed. The lens has already been loaded. Now we are going to inject it into the anterior chamber, not directly into the sulcus. And the leading haptic, which has a hole on the right side of the surgeon as he introduces it from the temporal side, the right side, upper side, the hole. Please remember, those 4 holes which you see proximal to the optic are actually holes which facilitate the exchange of aqueous humor from the anterior chamber to the posterior chamber. Now, the trailing haptic is caught in the incision. We have released it. Well and good. Now we will use the ball dialer, which is provided by the Dr.Sayee associates, to guide it into the sulcus. Now this is visco. Using visco, we push the lens RIL posteriorly. Using this ball dialer, we go in. The flange is drawn. The flange is drawn and pushed into the sulcus. Yes. This boy is undergoing this procedure without a block. It's under topical anesthesia. If we think that the patient is not so cooperative, there's nothing wrong in giving a peribulbar block and then going about with this very straightforward procedure. Well, we are drawing it into the sulcus, it goes in. Now here you have to observe that there are no toric markers because this boy has a pure spherical error and the correction is done using a spherical RAL. There is no toric component to this at all. Easy. Even if there is a toric component, it is not very difficult. We only have to adhere to the 180 degree orientation. That is more than enough. The toric component is inbuilt. We just have to inject it, keeping the 180 degree orientation in our minds. Well, this RAL is now in the sulcus, and now we shall go in with a coaxial IA and remove the HPMC meticulously. Go closer to those holes so that whatever visco may be there between the RAL and the lens surface can also be aspirated gently. Please do not go directly underneath the RAL. That would be a bit too vigorous and adventurous. Now that everything is in, we will go with pilocarpine. This is pilocarpine. We are injecting it. Pilocarpine goes into the anterior chamber. HPMC is onto the cornea. Yes. Again, pilocarpine. Now you can see the cornea being smooth because of the visco, and the pupil starts constricting because of the pilocarpine. So there we go. Once the pupil constricts, we are going to do a peripheral iridectomy without fail. This gentleman has already undergone a YAG iridotomy, but we will do a peripheral surgical PI, peripheral iridectomy. It is mandatory. And to ensure that the vaulting is proper, we have to do an anterior chamber OCT in which we will see the vaulting. And we have to make sure that there is a gap of at least 500 plus microns between the posterior surface of the RAL and the anterior surface of the natural lens. And another matter of concern is to ensure the anterior chamber depth has to be 3 millimeters, and at no point should it be below 2.8 millimeters ever. So there we go. Iridectomy. Beautiful. Yes. Sometimes what happens is the superior surface of the iris is cut, but the posterior surface of the iris remains and the iridectomy is partial. That should not happen. In case it is left also, if the membrane happens to be thin, we can aspirate the membrane using the bimanual or the coaxial irrigation aspiration probe. Well, AC is formed. Now we shall go in again and aspirate whatever HPMC is left behind. Well, the AC is formed again with visco. We will go in with the IA probe again. Aspirate. This particular maneuver is to ensure that the iridectomy is patent. The second round of irrigation aspiration is to ensure that the HPMC which goes in comes out after the completion of the proper steps of a peripheral iridectomy. Now we form the anterior chamber with balanced salt solution. We use the same probe to hydrate, not the probe, the cannula. After hydrating the ports, we come to the main incision and ensure that the anterior chamber is well formed. Thus, we have a successful, complete RAL implantation in this patient. Thank you very much for watching this video.